Hello, and welcome to our webinar on AWS Chatbot. I'm Mackenzie Kosit, and I'm here with Ilya Bezalev, Principal Product Manager at Amazon Web Services. Over the next 30 minutes, you're going to get a crash course on why chat-based operations, or ChatOps, is helpful for building efficiency and transparency into your teams, and how you can quickly configure this type of capability using our service. You know, more and more companies are turning towards remote work and looking for ways to help their teams operate while still staying in the loop about their ever-changing environments. ChatOps is one of the most powerful tools for helping to keep your teams informed about what's happening while it's happening. With ChatOps, you can know when features are being deployed, when particular services are throwing errors, when security-related events arise, and more. It can also help onboard new developers much faster. Instead of new hires learning the ins and outs of different systems, they can learn what chat commands to use to do deployments, check the health of a service, or any interaction you can dream up using AWS Chatbot with Lambda. Our service lets you receive alerts, run commands to return diagnostic information, invoke AWS custom Lambda functions, and even create AWS support cases. If ChatOps is new to you, I encourage you to research this topic after the webinar, as there are many great blog posts and videos covering the topic in depth. The reality is, teams do not become a ChatOps-based organization overnight. It's a process that takes time as you identify new chat-based interactions to add, which will help your teams become autonomous and self-service. Perhaps you want to build a chat command to provision test database for developers, or maybe you want an alert to notify a team if they're reaching their budget limits, or maybe you want a single place where all security-related events are being broadcasted into a single room for visibility. The first step is understanding how Chatbot works, and then define which task, alert, or operation you want to automate using it. You'll likely find that as you start enabling your teams with these capabilities, you'll find more creative and helpful tools to build, all wrapped around this simple chat interface.
For DevOps and operations teams, managing systems or responding to events can require switching context across email, chat rooms, phone calls, and the AWS console. Teams have to correlate data from various sources and continuously share progress back with their teammates, leading to higher process and communication overhead for teams. To streamline projects and collaboration, many teams have implemented ChatOps. ChatOps is the practice of centralizing operational activities, such as monitoring, system management, and managing your CI/CD workflows to chat applications in order to streamline activities in a single place and enable better team collaboration. Previously, AWS customers have built their own integrations with chat clients, used third-party solutions that lack features, or left ChatOps entirely. But now, AWS Chatbot enables DevOps teams to receive AWS notifications in Slack channels and Amazon Chime chat rooms, and run commands in Slack channels. AWS fully manages the integration, enabling your teams to better communicate and respond to incidents and alerts faster with AWS Chatbot. You will receive notifications and can issue commands in your chosen channels or chat rooms, facilitating collaboration and decreasing response time. It only takes a few minutes to set up in Slack or Amazon Chime. Additionally, you can quickly set permissions for individual chat rooms through predefined permission templates that you tailor to your organization's needs. AWS Chatbot helps your entire team stay updated on and respond to operational events, security findings, CI/CD workflows, budget, and other alerts for applications running in your AWS accounts. If your team uses a chat application supported by AWS Chatbot, you can quickly and easily get started today. Learn more at aws.amazon.com/chatbot.
I'd like to now hand this over to Ilya so we can learn how to start using AWS Chatbot today.
Thank you, Mackenzie. Hi, everyone. I'm Ilya Bezalev, and today we are going to talk about Chatbot. So I'll walk you through what Chatbot is and show you a demo for setting up notifications in Slack, retrieving logs using notification actions also in Slack, and how to run AWS CLI commands, including Lambda and some of the CloudWatch dashboard commands, also from Slack. So let's start with an overview. Chatbot, AWS Chatbot is an interactive agent that lives in your Slack channel or Chime chat rooms. You can use it to monitor and interact with your AWS resources. teams can collaborate and respond to events faster using the chatbot because everybody's in the same channel where the chatbot also lives. AWS Chatbot has easy but powerful control over permissions using IAM policies and templates, and integration with Slack and Chime is fully managed by AWS. There are 3 main use cases with AWS Chatbot today. First one, you can receive notifications from AWS services into your Slack channels. AWS Chatbot supports multiple services, including CloudWatch for sending alarms. A screenshot you can see on the screen right now is an example. You can get notifications from code pipeline, code commit, code build, code deploy, which will help you automate your CI/CD workflows. You can get security notifications from GuardDuty and Security Hub. You can get notifications from AWS Health Service. It's the same notifications you will see in Personal Health Dashboard in the console. You can get notifications about budgets when your spend goes out of band and your team needs to react to increasing costs. You can get deployment notifications from CloudFormation, which help you quickly see when your stuff, when your infrastructure is deployed or when something fails. You can get compliance notifications from Config and Systems Manager. To set up notifications through Chatbot, you'll need to use Amazon SNS as the sort of proxy for funneling notifications into AWS Chatbot. As you can see in this diagram, the way it works is an AWS service publishes a notification to an SNS topic, and then you use AWS Chatbot to map that SNS topic to a specific Slack channel or multiple channels. And once a service sends a notification to SNS, AWS Chatbot will pick it up, format it, and deliver it to Slack. The second use case is notification actions. Right now, we have action that we call a logs action, which is essentially a button on the CloudWatch alarm notification that says show logs. So what happens is if you have a Lambda function or an API gateway stage and you have a CloudWatch alarm set up for that resource, when the alarm goes into alarm state and you receive a notification like this in Slack, you can click the button and immediately get an excerpt from logs for this resource. So in this example on the screen, you can see I have a Lambda function that failed, and I clicked show logs button, and it showed me the logs for this Lambda function's invocation. This will help your team quickly get access to logs without having to log into the console or use any other tooling. And your entire team can see it in the same channel and discuss the issue and troubleshoot it right there without having to switch the context. And third use case is running AWS CLI commands from Slack. In Slack, you can tag AWS, so basically you type AWS and then you type a standard CLI command using the CLI syntax. Today, Chatbot supports read-only AWS APIs. It supports invocation of Lambda functions, and it supports the creation of support cases. Some commands are explicitly blocked by the Chatbot backend. These are things that have to do with credentials. So anything that has to do with IAM, KMS, or STS, and select operations that can expose credentials are blocked by Chatbot. Regardless of the policy that you use, you cannot execute those operations. And we did this to give you peace of mind so you can't invoke things that can potentially expose sensitive credentials. And with Chatbot, you have an IAM role for every Slack channel where you have Chatbot in. It helps you have fine-grained permissions for every channel where your Chatbot operates. The way it works is in Slack, you type a command, you tag a bot, you hit enter, it gets sent to AWS Chatbot. AWS Chatbot assumes the IAM role that you specified for this Slack channel and attempts to run the command against the AWS service that you should command for. And if it's successful, it will return you back the result of the call to Slack. If it's not successful, it will tell you why it was not successful. It will help you troubleshoot the issue. So now let's go into a demo. And in this demo, I will show you how to set up AWS Chatbot in a Slack channel. I'll show you how to configure and receive CloudWatch alarm notification for a Lambda function. We will invoke a Lambda function from Slack, and we will see all of the CloudWatch alarms you have at a glance. So now I'm going to AWS console. And as you can see, I have the AWS Chatbot console already open. So in order to access AWS Chatbot console, what you do is you just type Chatbot, and it's right here waiting for you. So this is the homepage you will see if you never used the service before. Let's select Slack from the list of the supported clients and click Configure Client. So what happens now is we are redirected to Slack, and Slack asks you to grant AWS permissions to access the workspace so that we can send notifications and read commands that you send to the chatbot. So we click Allow. And Chatbot got connected to the AWS Chatbot demo Slack workspace. So now let's create a configuration. So I'll have to stop here. So now we have the chatbot added to Slack workspace, but it cannot do anything until you create a configuration. And configuration is essentially a mapping of a Slack channel and an IAM role, and optionally SNS topics that you want to receive notifications from. So I'll click Configure New Channel, and I'll give this configuration a name. So this name is immutable, and it will be used as part of the Amazon resource number, ARN. So choose the name wisely. I'll call it a webinar demo. I'll enable logging for Chatbot just in case we hit some issues. I can go to CloudWatch and look at the logs and see what is not working. So we always recommend to enable logs either for errors or for all events. So now I want to select the channel where I want to deploy the chatbot to, but actually I haven't created a channel yet. So let me go to Slack. This is the workspace where we are going to use the chatbot, and I'm going to create a new channel. I'll call it a webinar demo. I'll use a public channel, but if you want to use chatbot with private channels, you can do that as well. Okay, so now we have the channel, and I go back to the console, and I'll refresh the list of channels. And now we have this channel here, which I'll select. So next, we'll create an IAM role from a template so that the chatbot can. So this is the role that chatbot will assume when you run commands. So we'll create a new one using the template. We will give it a name. We'll say webinar demo role 2020. And chatbot offers a few policy templates that you can select to apply to the role. And let me talk about those. So the first one is called notification permissions. So actually, when chatbot sends you CloudWatch notifications, as you might remember from the slide I showed, it had a nice looking graph that shows you the metric trend before you had the alarm. And in order for chatbot to display that graph, it actually needs to make an additional call to CloudWatch. And this policy will enable chatbot to make those calls to display the graphs. Read-only command permissions essentially includes the Amazon read-only policy, less the blocked commands. Lambda invoke permissions allows you to invoke Lambda functions, and AWS support command permissions allows you to call AWS support APIs. So for the sake of this demo, I'll enable all of those. But when you use chatbot in production, make sure that you restrict your policies to only what you need chatbot to do. And the mechanics of this is once we create the configuration, chatbot will create an IAM role with an attached policy that includes these policy templates. You can go to IAM and edit those policies to the exact granularity you want to have for AWS Chatbot. And we always recommend to stick with the least privilege approach, so you have only as much permissions as you need to do your job. And last, we will attach an SNS topic. And I have my topic in the high region. And I'll do this now, and I'll explain why we're doing this in a minute. And as you can see here, AWS Chatbot is a global service. So you can attach SNS topics from multiple regions here. And you don't have to create a configuration per region. One important caveat that you need to remember is AWS Chatbot console is actually hosted in the US East 2 region, and your organization's policy needs to allow you to access consoles in AWS Chatbot console in the US East 2. This is important to remember. Okay, so now I click configure, and now we have this configuration called webinar demo connected to the channel webinar demo with logging enabled, and it has one SNS topic mapped to that. So now this topic is mapped, but it actually will not receive any notifications because we have not set up any service to publish to that topic. And for this demo, we are going to work with this Lambda function called webinar Lambda that doesn't do much. It just whenever you invoke it, it reads a field from the payload, and if the field is not present there, it will fail. And we will use this feature of this function to demonstrate how alarms are triggered and how you can invoke Lambda functions. So now we'll go to CloudWatch and create an alarm so that we can trigger a notification to Slack whenever this Lambda function fails. So I'll go to alarms and create an alarm. I'll select Lambda by function name. So what I'll do is I'll select the errors metric. So whenever there is an error, whenever there is an error within a 1 minute interval, I want to get a notification to a Slack channel. So I'll say this threshold. So whenever we have an error, we get notification. And here I'll select the webinar demo topic to publish this notification to. And as you can see, the topic already has a chatbot endpoint set up from the configuration we've just created. And we will also add another notification when this alarm goes back to the OK state. We actually want to know that this happened and the alarm is no longer alarming. So we will choose this topic as well. I'll click next, give it a name, and review what I put in here. All looks good. I click create alarm. So now the configuration is complete. Configuration is complete, and next thing we will do is we will go to Slack. And before you can use a chatbot to run commands, you need to invite AWS Chatbot to your Slack channel. And as you can see here in Slack, we now have a new app called AWS. And to invite the app to the Slack channel, you type /invite AWS. And this is especially important with private channels, because with private channels, we cannot send notifications unless you invited the bot. So you always have to do this before you can start using the service. So next, let's see what Chatbot can do for us. We can just type AWS help and see what it responds with. So it gives you an overview of what it can do. It can run read-only commands, and it shows you what kind of syntax you can use to run those commands. Oh, we accidentally got the notification for the alarm going back to OK because this notification is new. But you can see that this is how Chatbot works. So we just got a notification. So let's ignore this for now and instead invoke the Lambda function. Because what we really want to see is like when things go wrong and when things fail, how Chatbot can be helpful in terms of notifying us about the issues. So let's do AWS Lambda and type AWS Lambda happen help. This will tell us what are the operations that we can run against the Lambda function, sorry, Lambda service. Okay, so this is the list of all the CLI operations. And what you actually can run will be limited by the role that you set up with the configuration. This list shows you all of the functions that Lambda has, all of the operations that Lambda has. So let's run AWS Lambda list functions so we can retrieve the function name that we want to invoke. Oh, and because this is the first time we use the service, it actually asks me to give it the region name. So my function is hosted in US East 2, so we'll do Lambda list functions region US East 2. So once I run this once, and now Chatbot in this channel remembers that US East 2 is the default region that you want to use with AWS Chatbot. So in case you run any further commands, it will assume this region to be the default region. And if you want to change that, I just need to run any command with the region flag, and it will change the default region setting for this channel. Okay, so the function is called webinar Lambda. Let's do this. Let's run AWS Lambda invoke, but actually don't remember the parameters. So let's look them up. Okay, so this function lets me invoke the Lambda function, and the function name is the required parameter. And let's use a standard CLI syntax to do this, to invoke that. Type invoke function name webinar Lambda. I hit enter, and you see I did not have to provide the region anymore because it knows that the region US East 2 is now the default region. Because this function, so this operation is not a read-only operation, AWS Chatbot asks me to confirm the invocation of the Lambda function. And I say yes, because that's what we want to do. The function has just been invoked, and the invocation is done synchronously. So this function is very simple. That's why it happens so fast. If you have a longer function, it might take a little longer. And as you can see, this function was unhandled, and it shows me the kind of the payload that the Lambda returned. So what will happen now is Lambda failed, and within a minute, we should receive a CloudWatch alarm that tells us that the Lambda function has just failed. So until this happens, let's explore what else you can do here. So this syntax is kind of verbose, right? When you have to type at AWS Lambda invoke, hyphen function name, etc. So because invoke is a unique operation within the AWS API model, actually we can omit the Lambda service name and just type AWS invoke instead. And because a function name is the only required parameter for the Lambda invoke operation, we actually, we just got the alarm. So, but let's finish this and then I'll go to the alarm. So I can just type invoke webinar Lambda. And Chatbot actually knows that you meant Lambda because invoke is only applicable to Lambda. And it knows the webinar Lambda was the function name because function name is the only required parameter for this operation. So you can simplify your command by omitting those kind of extra parameter names. Okay, so I'm canceling this invocation, and let's look at the alarm. As you can see, this Lambda was functioning without any alarms, and then once we invoked it here with the invalid payload, what happened is it failed, and it triggered the CloudWatch alarm. And as you can see here on the graph, it helps us see the trends. And if this was a production system, you'd probably see more of a kind of variability here, and you could see kind of what happened before you actually had the failure. And now let's actually see what caused this Lambda to fail. And we can do this by clicking the Show Logs button. What this will do now is it will run and you can see that the alarm went back to the OK state because it took me a minute to talk about the other things. But as you can see here, we got another message from AWS Chatbot after I clicked the Show Logs button, which shows me the logs for Lambda function for the approximate time frame when the failure happened. And as you can see, it ran the CloudWatch logs inside query. And actually, if you click on this link, it will open you the CloudWatch logs inside console with the query pre-populated. So you can click that link and go to CloudWatch console for further deep dive if this is what you prefer to do. But here you can actually see that around this time there was this event. The event was blank because I didn't provide any payload when I invoked the Lambda function. And there was an error. It shows me the stack trace. And looking at this, I can see, okay, so somebody messed up with the payload. So it's actually very helpful because I don't need to go to the console and troubleshoot there using the logs. And you can see some additional log entries here. Is because I actually have a scheduled CloudWatch event that triggers this Lambda every now and then. And within the time frame, there was also another event which actually was successful, and it didn't fail. So if you have a situation like this where you have lots of events coming into your Lambda function, there might be too much noise in the output of the show logs button. So for that specific case, we have another button, show error logs, which will filter the log output to only log entries that have the word error, exception, or fail. And as you can see now, it's more clear that we had this issue, and you can see what kind of event caused that problem, or like what time it happened. You can also copy paste this command and edit the start time and end time for the CloudWatch Insights query, and it will give you an output for a different time frame. Right now it's an epoch time, but we will make this more user-friendly over time, and you will be able to input like dates in normal format. All right, so now let's look at one more feature of AWS Chatbot from Slack. Now that I've got the OK alarm, I know that the function is no longer alarming, but I actually want to see what other alarms do I have in my account and if any of them are alarming right now. So I'll type CloudWatch describe alarms and hit enter. And it will show me all of the CloudWatch alarms I have in this region, and I can see them all at a glance. And I can see that actually things are normal. And specifically for this alarm that we just received, we can see that there was a spike, and now things are back to normal. Okay. And if you only want to see alarms that are in an alarm state, what you can do is you can type CloudWatch describe alarms state alarm. In this way, you will only see the alarming alarms. This can be relevant if you have many alarms and it's impractical to display all of them in Slack. So right now, all of my alarms are in OK state, so the result is empty. One last thing I wanted to show is we can also invoke the Lambda function with the payload. So we'll say invoke the webinar Lambda, and we type the parameter name payload, and we provide the payload, which will actually make this function not fail. And this is how you can automate your workflows. So for example, if you have a use case where you need to, let's say, allow this in an IP address. So you can specify the IP address in the payload and run the Lambda function like this. Okay, so I click yes. And as you can see, actually this time the function runs successfully. The status code is 200. And it also displays the payload in the body. So this concludes the demo in Slack. And let's go back to the presentation. I would like to answer a few frequently asked questions that we get from customers. So first, how much is AWS Chatbot? AWS Chatbot itself is free. You only pay for the resources used with AWS Chatbot. So for example, you would use for Lambda invocations, you would pay for SNS topic messages, you would pay for CloudWatch alarms, but AWS Chatbot itself is free of charge. What regions is it available in? It is a global service. It's available in all commercial regions. It is not currently available in GovCloud. And as I mentioned previously, users have to have access to AWS Chatbot in the US East to a higher region in order to access the console. Does it support CloudFormation? Yes, you can provision Slack configurations using CloudFormation. There is no API or SDK as of time of this webinar. Does it work with multiple accounts? Yes, it does. You can use AWS Chatbot in the same channel connected to multiple accounts. And it works very similarly to regions. You can either specify account ID as part of the command, or you can set the default account for the channel using AWS set default account command. How can I troubleshoot AWS Chatbot? AWS Chatbot publishes metrics by default. You can go to CloudWatch and look at the metrics for things like throttles and like unsupported events that AWS Chatbot will drop. And you can also see it like throughput. You can use metrics to identify if you had any failures, and you can also have alarms on CloudWatch, sorry, on Chatbot, so that you can see when the service is is having problems processing your events. And we recommend for alarms on Chatbot itself to not just use Chatbot to receive those alarms, but also to send them to email, so you have some redundancy there. And you can also use CloudWatch to look at logs for Chatbot. So when things are throttled, or actually when things are throttled, you will not see logs. But when you send unsupported events, or when events are malformed, or some other issue happens, you can see those in logs, and it can help you troubleshoot. Our premium support customers can open a support ticket against AWS Chatbot, and you will get support from our customer support engineers. And there is also documentation that you can refer to for troubleshooting. So the question we often get is, what's the difference between AWS Chatbot and Amazon Lex? The right way to think about this is AWS Chatbot is a DevOps tool that allows you to monitor and interact with your AWS resources from Slack and Chime. It does not allow custom use cases, unless you use Lambda to do some custom logic. Otherwise, AWS Chatbot is not customizable. It is a tool, just like AWS CLI is or AWS Console is. And Amazon Lex is a service that enables you to build custom natural language chatbots that can do whatever you want. You can expose them to your customers, and you can do lots of fancy things with that. So Chatbot is a tool. Lex is a custom natural language chatbot service. And now we are open for questions.